from Harbor City Pharmacy and Health Monday on this 13th day of October 2025. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Happy
I got to
Columbus
get this
Day.
off my chest first thing.
All right.
You're Auburn guys, right?
Yeah.
Both of you
We
are Auburn
are.
guys.
We are.
Well, what happened? Did he get in or not?
It was a touchdown.
Okay. It was 17-0 then, right?
It was a touchdown. We've got to find a way to blow it, though, I
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Second half was yet
fair.
to be played,
We
right?
weren't going to score in the second half, period.
Well, the second half for us is still yet to be played.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, wow. We're talking this morning about something I'd never heard of before. And Jared, I'm going to let you introduce it and tell us what this is and all that kind of stuff.
Maybe this is not that common of a term, but it is a common diagnosis, and that is chemo brain. Chemo brain is what we're talking about. If that sounds like a funny term to you, just understand that it does happen quite a bit. It's a cancer-related diagnosis around cancer and its treatments. And what it is trouble with thinking and memory. Those are two different things we'll talk about in just a second. Trouble with thinking and memory surrounding cancer or cancer-related treatments. Sometimes it's called chemo fog. Some people will kind of describe it as a cloudy brain. You actually may have experienced this. I feel like I experience this sometimes myself, but today we're talking about specifically in relation to cancer and chemotherapy.
You know, something I'd never heard of. And Jake, talk about what's some of the symptoms of chemo brain.
Yeah, and like Jared said, it's really common in people going through cancer or cancer treatments. And you know, why we call it chemo brain, if you had to give it a technical term to really catch what all it is, it's cancer-related cognitive impairment. So write that down and I'll test you later.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, got it. But symptoms of it falls under two categories, like Jared said. It affects your memory. And so we're talking there, what have I said lately? It's mostly short-term stuff. What did I say to you? You know, what have we been talking about? I don't remember what happened yesterday. Or what have I said lately? What have I heard lately? What have I seen written down lately? You don't remember it. It's just gone. The ability to hold on to that short-term stuff. That's the memory stuff. And then the other half is the thinking problems. I can't get my words right. I struggle to say things. Certain skills I had, whether at home or at work, I can't remember what I used to do, or I can't process through things or multitask or focus. I can't pay attention very long. So memory and thinking both affected by this chemo brain.
And to be real, those two terms are used with a lot of people. You know, we sometimes older in life we have difficulty thinking and saying words the wrong way and that kind of thing. But this is different. This chemo brain. What causes this?
Yeah, we'll talk about, well, just to what you said, people later in life, of course, a lot of Alzheimer's, other types of dementia. We'll talk about that a little bit in just a second. Causes of chemo brain, you can really break down into three different categories. One would be causes related to the cancer itself. It's possible that the cancer itself, because of maybe some chemicals that it might produce, may affect memory and thinking. Obviously, it makes sense that if the cancer is in the brain or it spreads to the brain, that's going to affect memory or thinking. You've probably all known somebody who's had brain cancer or cancer that spread to the brain. And then in relation to the cancer itself, the stress that comes from it. You guys know that when you're under extreme amount of stress, things just don't come to you as quickly as they do in your thinking, the worry, the distress that is related to that. The second thing would be the cancer treatments. So possibly the chemo itself, if you have radiation, of course, in that area of the body, that would make sense. And then the third thing would be complications from the cancer treatments. You guys know this, but one of the things that commonly happens with chemotherapy is it decreases your red blood cells, it decreases your hemoglobin. That's what transports oxygen to the brain. So it makes sense that that would affect the way that you think. These medications cause weakness, they cause tiredness. And outside of any of this, when you're weak and you're tired, you have more trouble thinking. These medications can cause sleep issues or pain. When you have sleep issues or pain, you have more trouble thinking and remembering things.
Yeah. Jacob, talk a little bit more about complications.
Yeah, and this part is really unfortunate, and one of the things that we see a lot, and this is sad. So, because we talk about this all the time. Cancer robs you of things, right? And it's just awful, right? Cancer robs you of things, and we try to hold on to those things, get those things back. And here's another example. One of the complications of chemo brain is, think about our type of work that requires a very great focus and attention to detail for a 10-hour shift.
Yeah.
And you can't do that anymore. Well, okay, well, I got my cancer taken care of. I got my surgery done. I got my treatments done. I'm doing well. I'm physically well. But I can't really do my job that I've done for 20 years anymore. And so focusing at work, being able to do skills at work, if you have if you work on assembly line of some sort, or some type, the motor movements that are so ingrained in you at some point, you can't do those anymore for a while sometimes. And so the way it affects your work and robs you of, even when you're healthy again, of your ability to do your everyday life is a huge deal. And that's not just work. I mean, think about younger people, students, the ability to study, to focus, to do things. Think about a preacher, rapid recall of scriptures. I'm trying to teach. You can't do it anymore. Yeah. And again, that can go away. You can get better, but it's just cancer robs you of so much already, and this one feels like it's just adding insult to injury sometimes.
Almost seems unfair, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
And we talked about the chemo brain, and you're taking chemo treatments, but what about treatment for the chemo brain itself?
Good point. Different questions.
Treatment for the
cancer
treatment.
over here.
Right.
This is treatment for the chemo brain specifically. Unfortunately, there are no great answers here. The number one answer to the question of what do you do to treat this is time. Give it time. Many times, this is the good news, I guess. Many times over time, this resolves itself, of course. But in a situation like this, like Jake said, time's not necessarily what we want to give. There are certain things you can do yourself, like we'll call them brain training exercise. We talk about this when we talk about all kinds of dementia, right? Crossword puzzles, maybe number games, those kind of things to stimulate your mind. And along those same lines, we're thinking about stimulation of the brain. Sometimes doctors will use stimulants like we use to treat ADHD to hopefully stimulate, to bring some of that back. Sometimes doctors will even use the medications that we think of that are used for Alzheimer's, like a Aricept or a Namenda. When you start thinking through those things as a pharmacist, the chemistry behind it, those don't really make sense. But just so you know, sometimes doctors will use them.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, chemo brain. I'd never heard of that term, but certainly is something that people who deal with it know all about. And if you've got further questions about chemo brain, these guys are your answer right here at Marble City Pharmacy. Another thing before we go this morning, it's that time of the year again, isn't it?
It's that time.
It's time for flu shots.
Yeah.
It's time. And what I want to encourage everyone, one is consider if you need a flu shot and would like to have a flu shot, we would love to give it to you. Second, this is the great time of year. It's a simple reminder. Hey, when you come in to get your flu shot, when you walk up and say, hey, I want a flu shot, and while you're doing that, will you check to see if I'm due for anything else? Pneumonia, shingles, Tdap, whatever. This is a great time to do basically what we're going to call an immunization checkup. Well, hey, I need a flu shot, and while I'm here, why don't you take a look and let's see what we need, and we'll talk about it.
Speaking of shingles, I told you last time.
That's not the ones on the roof.
That my wife was stricken with shingles on her back and shoulders. And you talk about the shingles vaccine. From what I saw her go through, we need to get that shingles vaccine. I don't know how it works or nothing like that, but I know how that worked on her, and it wasn't good.
You talk about some of these other vaccines. They're meant for things that will possibly put you in the hospital or unfortunately kill you.
Yeah.
Shingles is a different category altogether. It will simply make you miserable. Right?
And I thought she was going to kill me.
That's correct.
And
it's always a
nothing to do
possibility
with
for
the
you.
shingles.
That's
Nothing
right.
to do with the shingles.
That's right.
Guys, thank you both for coming this morning. And Chemo Brain, if you need more information on this or any other questions about your medications or stuff like that, these are the guys to talk to about your vaccines for the year. It's Help Monday here on Daybreak Live. About 4 minutes before the hour, that's going to wrap it up for me today.